Hello, welcome to Biology, the scientific study of life. The mother's immune tolerance of the embryo and fetus. Pregnancy is an immunological enigma. Half of the embryo's genes are inherited from the father. Thus, many of the chemical markers present on the surface of the embryo will be foreign to the mother. Why then does the mother not reject the embryo as a foreign body, as she would a tissue or organ graft bearing antigens from another person? Reproductive immunologists are working to solve this puzzle. A major key to the puzzle may be the tissue called the trophoblasts. Originally the outermost layer of the blastocysts, the trophoblast brings about implantation by growing into the endometrium and later develops into the fetal part of the placenta. And how might the trophoblast and later the placenta protect the embryo from rejection? Some possibilities follow. During early pregnancy, the trophoblast seems to prevent the mother's immune system from rejecting the blastocysts by releasing signal molecules with immunosuppressive effects. These includes HSG, a variety of protein factors, a prostaglandin, several interleukins, and an interferon. Several lines of research suggest that some combination of these substances interferes with immune rejection by acting on the mother's T lymphocytes, important players in the immune system. A very different hypothesis is that the trophoblast and later the placenta secrete an enzyme that rapidly breaks down local supplies of tryptophan, an amino acid necessary for T cell survival and function. At least in mice, this enzyme seems to be essential for maintaining pregnancy. Another possibility is the absence of certain histocompatibility antigens on placental cells and the secretion of hormone that induces synthesis of a death activator, membrane protein, FACL or FACL on placental cells. Activated T cells have a complementary death receptor, FA or FAS, and the binding of FACL to FACL to FAS would cause the T cells to self-destruct by apoptosis. Contraception and abortion. Contraception, the deliberate prevention of pregnancy, can be achieved in a number of ways. Some contraceptive methods prevent the release of mature eggs, secondary oocysts, and sperm from gonads. Others prevent fertilization by keeping sperm and egg apart, and still others prevent implantation of an embryo. The following a brief introduction to the biology of the most often used methods makes no pretense of being a contraception manual. For more complete information, you should consult a physician or health center personnel. Fertilization can be prevented by abstinence from sexual intercourse or by any of several barriers that keep live sperm from contracting the egg. Temporary abstinence, often called the rhythm method of birth control or natural family planning, depends on refraining from intercourse when conception is most likely because the egg can survive in the oviduct for 24 or 28 hours and sperm for up to 72 hours. A couple practicing temporary abstinence should not engage in intercourse during several days before and after ovulation. The most effective methods for timing ovulation combine several indicators, including changes in cervical mucus and body temperature during the menstrual cycle. Thus, natural family planning requires that the couple be knowledgeable about these physiological signs. A pregnancy rate of 10 to 20% is typically reported for couples practicing natural family planning. Pregnancy rate is the percentage of women using a particular family planning method who become pregnant during 1 year. Some couples use the natural family planning method to increase the probability of conception as a method of preventing fertilization. Coitus interruptus. Coitus interruptus or withdrawal, removal of the penis from the vagina before ejaculation, is unreliable of the sperm may be present in secretions that precede ejaculation, and lapse in timing or willpower can result in late withdrawal. The several barrier methods of contraception that block the sperm from meeting the egg have pregnancy rates of less than 10%. The condom used by the male is a thin. The condom used by the male is a thin latex rubber or natural membrane sheath that fits over the penis to collect the semen for sexually active individuals. Latex to collect the semen for sexually active individuals. Latex condom are the only contraceptives that offer some protection against sexually transmitted diseases, including AIDS. This protection is, however, not absolute. The barrier device most commonly used by females is the diaphragm, a dome-shaped rubber cap fitted into the upper portion of the vagina before intercourse. Both of these devices are more effective when used in conjunction with a spermicidal, sperm killing foam or jelly. Other barrier devices for men include the cervical cap, which fits tightly around the opening of the cervix and is held in place for a prolonged period by suction, and the vaginal pouch or female condom. Except for complete abstinence from sexual intercourse, the method that prevent the release of gametes are the most effective means of birth control. Sterilization is almost 100% effective, and chemical contraceptive, most often used in the form of birth control pills, have pregnancy rates of less than 1%. The most commonly used birth control pills are a combination of a synthetic estrogen and a synthetic progesterone-like hormone. This combination acts by negative feedback to stop the release of GnRH by the hypothalamus and those of FSH and LH by the pituitary. The prevention of LH release prevents ovulation as a backup mechanism. The inhibition of FSH secretion by the low dose of estrogen in the pelvis prevents follicles from developing. A similar combination of hormones is also available as an injection in a ring inserted into the vagina and as a patch. Combination birth control pills can be used in high doses as morning after pills MAPS taken within 3 days of unprotected intercourse. They prevent fertilization or implantation with an effectiveness of about 75%. A second type of birth control pill called mini pill contains only progesterone. It does not effectively block ovulation, and it is not quite as effective contraceptive as a hormone combination. The mini pill prevents fertilization mainly by causing thickening of a woman's cervical mucus so that the blocked sperm from entering the uterus. The progestin also causes changes in the endometrium that interferes with implantation. It if fertilization occurs. Progestin can be administered in time-release match-sized capsules that are implanted under the skin and last for 5 years, or by injections that last for 3 months, as well as in tablets, in mini pills form. Are there long-term side effects of hormonal contraceptives? For women taking a combination version, cardiovascular problems are the most serious concern. Birth control pills slightly raise a woman's risk of abnormal blood clotting, high blood pressure, heart attack, and stroke. Smoking while using chemical contraception increases the risk of mortality tenfold or more. Although the pill increases the risk for cardiovascular disease, it eliminates the dangers of pregnancy. Women on birth control pills have mortality rates about 1/2 of those of pregnant women. Also, the pills decreases the risk of ovarian and endometrial cancers and benign breast diseases. One elusive research goal has been a chemical contraceptive for men, chemicals that alter testosterone levels have tended to be unsatisfactory because they affect secondary sex characteristics as well as spermatogenesis. Recently, however, researchers have begun to look for drugs that target other kinds of molecules involved with spermatogenesis. One promising drug, actually a sugar, is already approved for another purpose. When administered to mice, it causes unfunctional sperm to be made, apparently by inhibiting synthesis of certain glycolipids. Sterilization is the permanent prevention of gamete release. Tubal ligation in women usually involves cauterizing or tying off, ligating a secretion of the oviduct to prevent egg from traveling into the uterus. Vasectomy in men is the cutting of each vas deferens to prevent sperm from entering the urethra. Both male and female sterilization procedures are relatively safe and free from harmful effects. Both are also difficult to reverse, so the procedure should be considered permanent. Abortion is the termination of a pregnancy in progress. Spontaneous abortion or miscarriage is very common. It occurs in as many as 1/3 of all pregnancies, often before year. About 1.5 million women in the United States choose abortions performed by physicians. A drug called mifepristone terminate pregnancy, or RU486, developed in France, enables a woman to terminate pregnancy non-surgically within the first 7 weeks, an analog of progesterone. RU486 blocks progesterone receptors in the uterus, thus preventing progesterone from maintaining pregnancy. It is taken with a small amount of prostaglandin to induce uterine contractions. Modern reproductive technology. Recent scientific and technological advances have made it possible to deal with many reproductive problems. For example, it is now possible to diagnose many genetic diseases and other congenital disorders, those present at birth, while the fetus in the uterus. Amniocentesis and chorionic villus sampling are invasive techniques in which amniotic fluid or fetal invasive procedures, usually ultrasound imaging, to detect fetal condition, a newer non-invasive technique relies on the fact that a few fetal blood cells, like of course the placenta and placenta into the mother's bloodstream. A blood sample from the mother yields fetal cells that can be identified with